We shouldn't have a one-party system. We should have options, choices, and the more times that there are choices, usually the better the outcome will be. So that's why I wanted to sign up for this and put my name down. So I'm happy to be here, and it's a good opportunity for me to present a lot of issues and hopefully make some inroads in the future. This is not something that you have to be a legal expert or a doctor. This is, democracy is for everybody, and sometimes it's the best when you have new people in government that can make changes, positive changes for the wide general public. So that's why I was interested in it, and I wanted to put my name down on the ballot. War in Iraq is depleting too much of our budget, and we're already in a big deficit, and we're going to go into a huge, and the deficit's just going to grow and grow and grow. And the problem in Iraq isn't going to go away. And we can throw money at the problem, but it's not going to do anything. I think the Congress needs to do a better job of oversight, making sure that the military is doing a good job in Iraq, making sure that the president isn't doing too much where he doesn't get the congressional approval, and I think we should have a withdrawal in 6 months to a year, because right now, each day that goes by, millions of dollars are going down the tube, and lots of our sons and daughters are dying. So it's not a pleasant war, and I don't think it's worth it.
So, where Congress is involved, you would advocate shortening the war and cutting back on the cost.
And I would do that not as a bleeding heart liberal or anyone like that. I would do that as a fiscal conservative, saying that the war is really taking too much of our resources. It's bleeding us dry. We're wasting so much money on it. But more than that, we're wasting so many of our precious lives in that war. And it's not just the casualty list, which is above 2,000. It's also all the injured and all the people that are going to come home with real serious problems. And why not avert that whole situation from dragging on when we could just get out? We could maybe pull an international force or a regional force from there to help manage the situation. But I think Iraq is not America's problem. I think the Iraqis themselves have to put their country together, and we can't export democracy. We can't hope that they're going to get it right away, because it took us a long time. It took us hundreds of years from the Magna Carta to the Revolutionary War and then to the Civil War. So it's a long process, and we can't just jumpstart it and expect victory in the near future.
So I would judge from what you're saying that perhaps mainly your concern is the budget, as far as congressional responsibility is concerned. So do you think any other items, well, for instance, the Medicare drug policy, is that going to be a tremendous drain on our resources?
It may be, actually. Unfortunately, Medicare is looking like it's going to become bankrupt in the coming decades, maybe even years. The problem with the new prescription benefit package that was passed is that it's too complicated, and a lot of senior citizens say that it's very, very difficult to actually access the drugs. So the best plan would be to make it simpler for people to access it. If we're going to be going into a debt, I'd rather go into debt for health care or for helping seniors with Medicare or Social Security, rather than going into debt for a war that we're not going to win. And I think if we pulled all the resources from the war and from other foreign policy adventures that we have, if we put all those resources towards Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, we could have a much better domestic policy for our country, and we could save so much lives and precious resources.
Simon, it sounds to me as though your background may be in accounting or business management.
Yes, I took accounting and I took a few business courses in college, but I decided I wasn't very interested in business. I saw the bigger picture, and I studied a lot of history, and then I got into political science. And that's how I graduated college, was in political science, and I took international relations as my emphasis. So I learned all about the problems in the Middle East, about Iraq, about how all these countries were drawn up. And the problem is that Iraq was a country that was drawn up by the British in the mid-20th century. And unfortunately, they weren't very careful to draw up the country with respect to making sure the demographics weren't going to try to kill each other. You have the Kurds in the north, the Sunnis in the south, well, the south central, and then the Shias even further south. And what should have been done was they should have divided the country up into 3 parts. And I learned a lot about the Palestinian problem, the Israeli problem, about pan-Arabism between the Egyptians and the Jordanians and the Syrians. So the whole Middle East is a hotbed of problems, and the United States, if we just put 10% of what we're putting in the Iraq war, if we put that into trying to make a political solution in the Middle East to make a lasting peace, we could do it. And we don't have to spend nearly as much money or time, and we could solve so many problems.
So now, are you working, you said political science is your prime interest, at least from your college days, but are you working in that area as an employee?
No, right now I'm working at the public schools. I'm a substitute teacher, a swim coach, and I've been working at the public schools since February of last year, and I enjoy working with the kids a lot. I was going to go and work for the U.S. State Department, and I took the Foreign Service exam, and I passed it. So then I went to take the Foreign Service oral assessment, which is the second test. And unfortunately, I didn't pass it. But I at least was able to see what it was all about, and I was thinking, you know, it would be interesting to be a diplomat, but it would be even better to have congressional oversight, to make sure our foreign policies run better, to make sure the government is within its bounds, to make sure there's no abuse of power. So that's why I wanted to run for Congress, and I'll continue trying to make a difference, whether it's in the public school system or in a much larger forum like Congress or the Foreign Services.
Good.
So that's what I'd like to do, and hopefully, you know, this is a good start to it.